Hi everybody, welcome to a quick little beginner's flow. If you're new to yoga, this is a great place to be. The types of things that you'll need for class are 2 yoga blocks. You could use your Filio blocks, which have a little handle on the inside, or are really helpful for when you're first starting to learn about yoga, and also as you start to progress in through your asana practice. Asana just means posture, so we'll just be moving from posture to posture and linking it with our breath at some capacity. So once you have your things, you can also use some books, if you have some books, just to pick the floor up away. You also could be helpful to have a strap. I have one of these nearby. A scarf also works really well. So grab some things together, and if you don't have any of it, still just come and join us. It'll be a fun little flow onto the mat. With all that being said, we will get started today in child's pose. Child's pose is a great option for us to take our knees out wide, big toes together. And if you have your yoga blocks, take them out in front of you, and you can place your hands directly on top of them. And just allow your torso to come down towards the floor, so the torso is somewhat in between the knees. We're going to stretch our fingertips and our hips in opposite directions and just breathe through the back body. Here, this is our opportunity to dial into our breath, shift from what we were doing previous throughout our day into starting this practice here and now. Start to thicken your breath. So really pulling the breath and elongating the breath on the inhales and the exhales. Thinking about starting that inhale and filling up your lower back through your mid back and your upper back. Taking time to go slowly, pausing at the top and the bottom. And as you find exhales, allow the rib cage to pull in towards one another. Emptying the breath all the way out of the system. Draw an inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Subtle pause and hold. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Subtle pause. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Start to pull the breath in naturally, evenly, in through the nose and out through the nose, starting to heat the body up from the inside out. When you find an inhale, start to pull your shoulders over your wrist, coming into a tabletop pose. And if you have your handles of your Filio blocks, you can take your hands around those. If you are working with regular blocks, take your hands on top of your blocks. Shoulders are over top of the wrists. And let's draw little circles with the tailbones and send the tailbone up towards where the ceiling and the wall meet, and allow the whole entire spine to follow as the belly drops down towards the floor. Roll your shoulder blades onto the back body. Find an exhale here to draw the tailbone down towards the ground. Find a space of the back of the heart reaching up towards the sky, bowing the brain down towards the floor. Linking this with breath to movement. So inhale, pull the heart forward. Exhale, push the ground down and away. Dome and round. Inhale, pull it forward. And exhale, press it away. Inhale forward. and exhale. Inhale back to neutral. So have a normal lengthening in through your spine. Send your right leg back towards the back of the mat. And then send your right toes, so facing the right side of the mat, and open the body up towards the right. Your hand is on your block, pressing down through your block. Look down at your left thumb for stability. Your left shin bone can pivot towards the back of the space behind you or towards the back of the mat, whatever is a strong and stable grounding sensation. And when you're ready, lift your right leg up off the floor. Squeeze through the outer hip. Press down through the left hand. Place your right leg back down to the ground. Pop off your right hand and bring your shoulders over top of your hips. And again, your left shin bone is going to pivot. Allow it to just support yourself as you need. Lengthen your tailbone down. Take your arms out to a T. Fire your hands away from one another. So press as if you're pressing two walls away. Pull the navel towards the spine. And look at your hands and think about taking your nails towards the top of your forearms. You're really extending through your hands. Now gently relax the palms so the fingertips almost just curl in towards one another. And now press them out and away the same way we just did. Keep pressing out through the heel of the hand. You may notice sensations going on in your forearm. Soften your hands and then ecstatic your hands and soften. And speed this up and ecstatic. And start to take your arms out in front of you. And keep going through those motions of relaxing and extending, relaxing. Once your arms are out in front of you, you can go ahead and stay here. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend into your right knee towards the back of the mat, arms out to a T. Again, now we're in this position of a supported warrior 2. So I'll show you what this looks like a little bit later on, but this is with the left shin bone down, bend deep into your right knee. Feel an opening sensation going on through your hips. Stay here. Squeeze through the underbelly of your arms, lengthening through the tailbone. Windmill the hands all the way down towards the ground, back into our tabletop pose. 3 cat-cows here. Draw the tailbone up. Take a big inhale. Exhale, shoulders over wrists. Push dome and round and see if you can get more space of the back of the heart towards the sky. 2 more times here. Roll, bending through the elbows. Heart pulls forward. Exhale, dome and round. Release. 1 more time. Pull forward, dome and round. Exhale. Coming back to a tabletop pose. Send the left leg behind you. Kink your right shin bone and start to rise your left arm up towards the sky. Gaze at your right thumb for stability. Push and reach your right hand down and see if you can pull your right scapula onto your back body just by pulling the shoulder away from your right ear. Stay here, grow from your right hand and then reach your left arm up towards the sky. And when you're ready, lift your left leg up any degree. Stay here, look at your right thumb for stability. Try to breathe when things get challenging. Lower the left foot back down towards the ground. And when you're ready, pop off. Extend your hands out wide. And now this time, tight little fists. And out wide into tight little fists. Each and every time thinking of pressing the heel of the hand, the bottom part of your hand, away from self. Out wide and fists. And carry this until your hands are right in front of you. And now open and close your hands out super, super wide. Take your arms out up overhead. Shut your shoulders up by your ears. Feel long through the side body. Maybe give it a little shimmy shake. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, arms out to a T, pivot on the ball of the back, or on the back foot, so it's facing the back of the mat. You can lunge deep. Squeeze the underbelly of your arms. Gaze over your left hand. Lengthen the tailbone and breathe. Windmill your hands down to your blocks, pivot all the way onto your knees. Walk your blocks about 1 palm distance forward. Tuck your toes and glide your sit bones up to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Again, if you have regular blocks, all we're doing is taking your hands on top of them, and you can curl your fingertips around the outer edge. Press the ground down and away. And now think about sending the sit bones to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Again, heels are up, down, knees are bent. Most importantly, we're just kind of finding a little bit of space. So sometimes I really just like to get into the physical body's needs first. And that's kind of like where we feel stuck or tight. When we talk about postures in yoga, it's kind of like, well, let me just kind of stretch into this and figure out where my breath needs to go. So you can send your heels towards the right and towards the left. You can just pedal it out and just kind of feel in through this upside down triangle or mountain shape we're making with the body. And once you have that all ironed out, come into more of a stationary downward facing dog. Inhale to the height of the toes, so peel the heels away from the floor. Look forward and slowly tiptoe your toes to the top of the mat. Tiptoe, tiptoe, so the feet come somewhere in between your hands. And as we arrive, you can widen your feet hips distance, bend your knees a lot, and drip your torso over top of your thighs. Take an inhale here through the lower part of your spine. Feel everything kind of expand and separate on your inhales. And as you exhale, it's almost like letting your crown of your head melt down towards the floor. Take 2 more breaths just like this. And here, I just want you to think about, even if you have a huge bend into your knees, let's try to make a little bit of connection of the belly towards the thighs. Flip your blocks up so they're on level 3. Inhale, spine and gaze grows long. Extend through the legs, so work a straightening effect through the legs. Crown of the head towards the front of the mat, so we're making like a little L or 7 with the body. And then exhale, bend the knees to fold. Crown of the head down towards the ground. 2 more just like this. Inhale, halfway lift. Maybe the hands hover. Exhale to fold, bend the knees, release the nape of the neck. Inhale here, spine and gaze. Maybe hover the hands, strength body. Lower and fold. This time, bend the knees, release your hands from your blocks, gently roll the body all the way up into a stand. Circle sweep the arms up towards the sky. Reach the arms up as if you're reaching for something, and then lengthen the tailbone down towards the ground. Take an inhale here. And exhale, bend the knees, fold down towards the ground into our forward fold. Halfway lift on our inhale. Strength of the back body carries your fingertips to your blocks. And then as you exhale, take your blocks back down onto level 1. And step the left leg back and the right leg back. We'll be in a plank pose here, so the knees can be up or down. Hands underneath the shoulders. If your hands are around the dowel rods, squeeze the handles a lot. If your hands are on top of the blocks, try to take some fingertips around the edge and try to squeeze around the blocks. This will help turn on your part of your arm muscles that will help to alleviate pressure from the wrists. Come forward just a little bit, so you kind of rock forward. Pull the navel away from the floor. And now this, just a small bend and extend through the arms, like the smallest ever. So elbow tips towards the back of the mat. Let's try this 2 more times. Bend into the elbows just a little, and then extend. Power push, bend, and then extend. We'll send our sit bones back into a child's pose. The hands can stay on our blocks, but maybe the blocks just slide a little bit more towards the top of the mat. Now, in a cat pose, we'll round the spine, roll the belly forward so that we're all the way onto our belly. Make a little spinal roll. So with this, you can take your blocks and just leave them as is. Your hands are going to go in front. Tent them like mountain peaks. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Squeeze and lengthen through your tailbone. And then curl your torso off of the floor. Lower down. Let's just get this motion in our body. So roll and do some spinal waves. Linking the breath to the movement. Think about this as like an exploratory process for your spine. You can dip one shoulder down and the other shoulder. The next time your torso comes down to the ground, leave it there. Take your hands around your handles or on the top of your blocks. Press back into our tabletop pose. Glide up and back into a downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up towards the sky. Press your hands away and then squeeze your right booty cheek. Lift your right leg up a little bit higher. Lift to the height of the left toes. We've done this before, but keep the right leg reaching up towards the sky. Bend the left knee a lot, so much so that it uses this to charge the left leg to pull the right knee in towards the chest. Let's do this 2 more times. Extend the right leg up, peel the left heel up, bend the left knee. Take an inhale. Exhale, straighten the left leg, pull the right knee towards the nose. Round and push your hands through the floor or your blocks. Extend it back. Right leg reaches up, lift the left heel. Engage all of the muscles to the bones. Bend the left leg a lot. And then come forward. Step your right foot in between your blocks. Now, if you want to adjust and pull your right foot up a little bit more or squeegee your left leg back, that's great. We're looking to just feel rooted and grounded here with our feet onto the ground. So if your hands were not supporting you, do you feel like your feet have you? And if you're like, no, well then widen them up and ground them enough. So really start to feel your feet into the floor. We'll go ahead and take our blocks on level 3. Spin your back foot down so your right heel is in line with your back arch. Take your right hand onto your block and inhale the left arm up towards the sky. And now the left hand comes down towards the ground. We'll pivot on the left heel and the right arm up comes up towards the sky. Keep reaching your right arm up and press your left hand down. We'll go back and forth with this. Right hand down, left heel down, open it up. Left hand down, left heel up, open it up. One more. Start to link your breath with this. There's no right or wrong, just link your breath. The next time you find yourself with the left heel pressing down, great. Now, you don't have to pick your blocks up, but you could. If you have regular blocks, grab onto the thin side. And if you have the handles, take the thin side with you. Our hands and blocks are going to be in a prayer position. So the right leg forward, the blocks will come into the heart center. If you're using regular blocks, they will look something like this. Press. All right? Bend deeper into your right knee. This is our warrior 2. Keep pressing your blocks in towards one another so you can feel something happening into your chest. Keep bending deeper into your right knee. And widen your stance. Sometimes we have a tendency to have this a little bit kind of short and narrow. So let's widen it. Take your right foot forward, maybe left leg back. Squeeze your left booty cheek. Left hand with the block comes to your left hip. Right arm comes up overhead. Stretch your right hand away from your right knee as you bend your right knee even deeper. Stay here for a second. And windmill the hands down to the ground. Take your blocks, adjust them, place them onto level 1, and then work your right hip back in space. Level 1, you may want to adjust and make it to level 2. And here we're just going to kind of thread the right knee and right hip back in space. So curl it away from your right shoulder. Breathe here. A straightening effect in through your spine. Crown of the head forward. All right, this is our first big power move. Inhale, heart forward in space. Come up very high on your left toes. So look back at your left toes, left heel on top of the left toe mound. We'll find this motion first. Big exhale, dome and round. Push and cat the spine and bow the brain down towards the ground. You may feel something happening in through your core. Height of the left toes is necessary, so please peel your left heel up even higher away from the floor. Inhale, heart forward, straightening effect in through your spine. And then big exhale, dome and round. See if you can press your hands into your blocks enough that maybe you hover your right foot. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think it's impossible. I did definitely one day. Lower. Inhale, heart forward in space. Big exhale, dome and round. Push. And now slide, glide, squeegee your right leg back to downward facing dog. Fantastic. Adjust your blocks as necessary so that we are here on level 1. Rise to the height of the toes and then ripple the spine forward into a plank pose. Press the ground down and away. Come forward a little bit, knees up or down, and a small little bend and extend through the elbows for 1. Lower the knees. Go back to a child's pose here just for a beat. Ripple the spine forward into a cat spine and watch your hips come down towards the ground. Tense your fingertips like mountain peaks in front of your blocks, and then roll the scapulas onto the back body. Lower it down. Find your hands into your blocks again. Roll back over the knees, and then downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Left leg up. Squeeze left glute. Rise to the height of the right toes, and then bend the right knee. Come forward. Extend the right leg. Pull the left knee into the nose. Back we go, 3-legged downward facing dog. Inhale, right heel up, bend the right knee. Come forward, left knee to nose. Come a little bit more forward, press your hands through the floor. Inhale, left leg up. Bend the right knee, left knee into nose. Place the left foot in between your hands. And again, squeegee your right leg back in space. And come to your blocks on level 3. Bend deeper into your left knee. And peel the left arm up towards the sky. And then lower it down. Left hand finds the block. Press down and peel the right arm up towards the sky. We have 2 more of these on each side. Start to thread your breath with this motion. Left arm reaches up. And attention into the hands. Maybe expand through the hands a little bit more on these rotations. Really thinking about this pushing of the hand down. Come back into your breath. When you're ready with the blocks, root through your legs, pivot your right heel down, engage your right leg a lot, and then maybe you can pick your blocks up on level 3, again, level 2 through the handles. Rise up, open the torso up, so the shoulders are over top of the hips, and adjust yourself so that you can feel like you're stable, okay, and grounded. So the idea with these warriors is to use the strength of the legs. So Really bend and then see if you can squeeze things to the bones. Now press your blocks in towards one another and feel something happening in through your chest. Keep squeezing the right glute and then take your block to your right glute. Feel connection there. Send your left arm up overhead and then stretch your left arm away from your left knee. Windmill the hands down towards the ground. Pivot the ball on the back foot really high. And you can shorten your stance here. So again, let's just find this idea of this threading of the left hip back in space. So you can breathe through the back of the left hamstring. More so can we kind of move around through the hips. We talk a lot about squaring the hips and open the hips, but can you kind of just get a little bit of motion? Maybe wiggle the hips from side to side here. And then find a place that is curious for you to breathe. And then that's when we kind of work this idea of this long, strong spine folding. We have those big power push plugs. I call them pyramid plugs here at Authentic Movements. You can probably call them a lot of different types of names, but when we first started doing them, they definitely were something that were very challenging and also very thoughtful for intentional movement and stability onto the mat. So let's try them out. Again, it's initially using those cat-cow-like motions. So inhale, heart forward in space. Big exhale, dome and round. And just feel the back body stretching and the height of the right toes growing higher. Inhale, heart forward in space. And then big exhale, see if you can keep pressing the hands through the floor. Maybe something happens if the left leg lifts or not lifts. It does not matter. Inhale, heart forward in space. And this time we carry the left leg all the way back. And you can do these big audible exhales. Slide, glide, squeegee. Back to downward facing dog. Take your hands onto your blocks on level 1. Roll the body forward in space. Knees up or down. 1, bend and extend through the elbows for 1. Lower the knees and then send yourself back into a child's pose. Feel the sit bones growing back in space. Lead the back of the heart as you ripple forward. Watch your hip bones lower towards the ground. Tense your fingertips. Press the tops of your feet. It's cobra pose. Back down. Hands find your blocks. Press back. Downward facing dog. Big inhale, right leg up. Take the right heel towards your sit bone. Open up through the hip. Now, if you don't know what that is, just draw big circles with the hip. See if you can find any kind of curiosity of movement here. Firming in through the outer hip and see if you can expand it. Especially in the beginning of learning how to practice, it's really important for us just to become creative and curious. You're not doing anything wrong or right. This is your body and your playground. Stretch your right leg up towards the sky. Pick your left heel away from the floor. Look up to the outer edge of the right side of your mat. And then carry right foot up to the right pinky. So you're outside of your blocks. Fantastic. Again here with this, pull the right hip back in space and drop the left knee down towards the ground. We're having this long spine from the crown of the head all the way through your left knee. Breathe in through your right hip. Now here you can stay here or you can stretch your left arm forward. For a balance challenge and to make sure your legs are really turned on, you can bring your right arm forward. What? Stay here for a final breath. Stretch your thumbs up towards the sky. Hold, 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 hold. Glide your sit bones back in space. Carry your blocks with you. Maybe bring them on level 3. Flex your toes towards your nose and gently fold. Take your block on level probably 2, should be good, towards the top left corner of your mat. We'll plant the sole of the right foot and just use your blocks as stability as we lift off. Now flex your toes, all 10 toes towards the right. This is gonna look very different. We're seeking a sensation to the outer part of your right hip. So again, pretty stern, stable blocks like cork blocks or wood blocks are gonna be really helpful in the beginning of practice. I know we think like, oh, the softer the better, but for support for certain things like this, so that we can use our core to stabilize, it's really quite helpful. All 10 toes are gonna pivot towards the left now, and we'll be in a wide leg forward fold. Blocks can be on whatever level is supportive of you to start to send the tailbone towards where the ceiling and the wall, well, just really where the ceiling is. Halfway lift, find an inhale. Turn your toes towards the corners of your mat, heels in, bend in through the knees, and pick your blocks up. Again, you can use your handles or the sides of the blocks. This is to recruit some muscles into the arms, so squeeze the block whatever you have. Bend the knees even more. Press down, rise up into a star pose. Windmill to the back of the mat with your blocks. Bend in through your left knee and lower your, bend in through your left knee, lower your right knee. Take your blocks on level 3. Lift your torso up over top of your hips. Lean into your left hand. Inhale the right arm up and then over. Arc through the right side body. Breathe in through your right rib cage. Great. Release. Frame your front foot with your blocks. Pick your right knee up, and then we're in that pyramid pose yet again. We'll just do one pyramid plug here. Inhale, heart forward in space. And then big exhale, dome and round. Slide your left leg all the way back. Three-legged downward facing dog. Curl the heel in towards your sit bone. And now we are on the other side. Left knee stretches up. Big circles here. Big circles, big circles. Become curious. Lift your left knee up. Bend your right knee, look forward. Left foot comes all the way up to the outer side of your left mat. Bend deep. And you can lower your right knee. Notice how more on like a long spine and the crown of the head reaching towards the back of the mat. And again, you can stay here. But if you want to challenge your legs to start to stabilize and to really start to press through your right foot, stretch your left arm forward. This is always about like engaging at end range here for us in these types of postures. You can start to shift over. Maybe your right hand lifts. Lift your thumbs up, squeeze here. This is no joke. Release, glide your sit bones back in space. And we are on a little half splits. The hand is outside of the blocks. Pull the heart forward in space. All right. We're moving into that interesting kind of, I don't know what you would call it, twisted variation. So reach the block forward towards the right. Lift your right knee and then spin all 10 toes towards the left. Working some sort of sensation in through the hips. Flex the feet a lot. Use the blocks to help support you. And now all 10 toes towards the right. Wide leg forward fold. Take your block, one block underneath your face, And then bring the left hand onto the block. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Press down through the left hand and reach your right arm up even more. And just try to breathe here. Try to expand through the shape. There's definitely small nuances we can get into, but in the beginning of your practice, it's just finding a place to breathe and maybe some cool push-pull actions with the body. Right hand is going to find the block. Press it and reach it down through the block, and to reach the left arm up towards the sky. Left hand will return down. Grab onto your blocks however you would like to. Heels in, toes out, roll up into a goddess pose. Little W with the arms. Bend deep into your legs and then extend into a star. Let's do that 3 more times. So lower down, find an inhale. And then exhale, power and starburst. Inhale here, draw down, squeeze the scapulas. And then starburst. Final one, pull down. And starburst. Pivot all the way to the front of the mat. High stance pyramid pose. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, press down, dome and round. Slide your right leg back. Excellent. Roll forward, plank pose. Small bend and extend through the elbows. Lower the knees and go down to a child's pose. Feel the body roll forward in space. Roll and lower down, tent the fingertips. Charge through the legs, take an inhale to rise to cobra. And an exhale to lower. Find your blocks and press the body up back to our downward facing dog. We're doing fantastic. Come forward with the feet, flip the blocks so that we are on a level 3. Inhale forward and find that length again through the spine. Hover your hands away from your blocks so you can kind of feel the integrity of the back body squeezing. And gently release your hands to your blocks and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Use your blocks to support you. Take your left block out upon like a block's distance up and over towards the left, and extend your right leg back behind you. Look back at your right toes and now dial them so they're towards the side. You may use your block to kind of support you. So here you're kind of making a different kind of L shape with your right toes. Look down at your left thumb for stability. Allow your right fingertips to grow light onto the block. Just see if you can here kind of play with stacking the right hip on top of the left. And that. Use your gaze onto your left thumb for stability. Keep pressing your left hand through the block and maybe your right fingertips find your right hip. This is your foundation. If you fall out, get back in at starting position. We'll be here for the next 3 to 5 breaths to explore and stabilize our body. Coming to our edge with stability is going to be different each and every day. So again, starting to really focus with your breath. Have a little bend in through your knee. You can flirt with releasing your hand from your block. Gaze at the ground. Squeeze the right leg a lot. This is going to help to right your sailboat. And maybe you hover the left hand. Right arm can reach up towards the sky. But remember what we did with the pressing of our hands away from one another in the beginning of class. Do that now. Keep breathing here. Squeeze the right side body, lift away from the floor. All right, get out of here. Re-square off through the hips, right foot down. No worries, let it go. Shimmy, shake. Great job. Switching to the other side. Bring your right block out, one palm distance over. Extend your left leg behind you. And then start to just play with this dialing of the left hip on top of the right. Left hip on top of the right. Go ahead and keep it there. Lift toes or facing the side of the mat. And again, gaze at your right thumb for stability. Turn your awareness into your breath to increase that focus. Tense your left fingertips. Bend into your right knee a little bit. We'll squeeze the left quad a lot. And again, this is your foundation. If you fall out, get back in starting position. 3 to 5 breaths to explore your edge today. As your left hip hand comes to your hip, left shoulder stacks on top of right. Keep gaze at the ground, squeezing through the left leg. Maybe you start to trust and release your right hand. Left arm can come up towards the sky and ecstatic your hands. You can also create little fists with your hands. Again, something to bring more engagement, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Take one more breath, and then get out of there. Roll the body up into a stand. Equal measures in both feet, palms face forward. And you can play here by just closing down your external gaze. Soften your hands, soften your knees. We'll play here with something called circle chair, something that I really, really like. You can use your blocks if you would like to add a little bit of added load to help pull the body forward in space. You can hold the sides or your handles, or you can get rid of them. So soft bend in through your knees, and then just start to bow the torso, crown of the head leads, and then roll the scapulas onto the back body. Try not to think about it too much. Think of yourself kind of like a little I don't know, like a car wash balloon guy or anything. Take the arms over around towards the side. Allowing some organic nature to follow. Sometimes it's helpful just to kind of close your external gaze so you're not watching yourself. Taking a few more motions. And then gently release. Bring your blocks down onto level 3. Rise to the height of the toes and bend your knees a lot. Come to a toe stand. Stretch the bottoms of the feet and then walk your blocks back behind you. Lower your sit bones and walk your feet forward. These are really great tools to help us start to move in space. Lower onto the back body. We'll close off here with our bridge pose. So if you have the handles onto the blocks, these are really, really helpful here for opening up through the chest. But if you don't, you can still use part of the blocks. It just depends on how long your arms are. So again, this can be done on level 3 with the blocks. This could be a lot for today's practice. So you can do level 2. Bring the blocks in towards one another and rest your hips onto the blocks. Take your hands around the handles of the dowel rods or on the edges of the blocks, which again could be quite challenging. Start to squeeze your scapulas and press your elbow tips onto the floor to rise your sternum. Press your feet in through the floor and then hover your feet or your sit bones off of the blocks. Hold here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now with the handles, you can stay as is. But with the handles of the blocks, you can take them towards the top of the mat or the ceiling, pardon me. Lower the hips and then extend the blocks up towards the sky. We'll go through this motion 3 times. This is just to kind of bring more engagement in through the back body. Pull the blocks down and now place them under your hips and squeeze through the glutes. Press the elbow tips, rise through the sternum. Open, lower the hips, press the blocks. Rise. Final time. Rise. Excellent. Stay here in more of a passive bridge pose just to kind of feel the body soften. Gently release. Lower the sit bones down towards the ground. Take your block out towards the right. Extend your right leg and pull the left knee in towards the chest. Tug the left knee in towards the chest, extend through the right leg. And then when you're ready, glide the left knee up and over towards your block. Take the block. You can either take it on the thin side of your hand here, or again the dowel rod, and take it out towards the side. Allow the weight of the block to kind of soften your left shoulder down towards the ground as I try to find a nice place for my block to go. And just be here. Gently come back up. Take your block on the same level on the left. Pull the left knee in towards the chest. Extend it long. Right knee in towards the chest. Give it a squeeze. And then send your right knee up over towards the block. Bring your block into your right hand and help to weight the right shoulder down towards the ground. Left rib cage forward, right shoulder back in space. You can press your left elbow into the floor to help scooch your left rib cage over. Taking one more breath. Great. Rolling back. And here, place your blocks on level 2 and make a little moat. And rest your back of your knees onto the blocks. And if it's comfortable for you, go ahead and rest the back of your head onto the floor. But if you'd like to grab a pillow for the back of your head, feel free to do so. Coming to our final resting pose here, and this is a way that we end practice to kind of allow the body to settle after all of the movement and effort that we just put it through. So take your palms and rest them wherever is comfortable and grounding for you, whether that's palms up or down or even somewhere on your body. Exhale the breath out of the system. Take an inhale and fill up through the back of the heart. Feel it pressing through the floor. Exhale out the mouth, long, slow, and intentional. Like you're fogging up a mirror. Let's do 2 more breaths like that. Take an inhale through the nose. Feel the back of the heart press into the floor. Exhale out the mouth like you're fogging up a mirror, slow and intentional, and all the way to the end. Take an inhale. And a collapsing breath here out. Release any intentional connection to your breath. Allow the breath to kind of happen rhythmically and naturally throughout the body. Start to relax the outer layers of your skin, your fingertips, your eyes, your jaw, your toes. Hips feel heavy onto the floor. Back body is supported. Please stay here as long as you'd like, as long as that is supportive on you. Please take at least the next couple of minutes here to support the ending and closing of your practice. This is where I will leave you here today. Thank you so much for journeying here on the mat with me. I look forward to practicing again with you soon. Till next time, friends, be well.